Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
And we are back with GSU ENI Radio, broadcasting live from Georgia State's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute. Lee, we got 2 solid episodes under our belt, but I think this might be the highlight of the day. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast Simha Magal. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are doing great. Before we get too far into things, can you tell us just kind of in general terms, tell us about information systems, and you are talking about the Masters of Science in Information Systems.
Yeah. Information systems in the business school focuses on the application of technology in organizations. Mm-hmm. You have a spectrum, a range of definitions. Some of them are very technical. Those tend to be engineering, computer science, where they build the technologies. Mm-hmm. In the business school, we take those technologies and apply them to solve problems.
And then we're here to talk about kind of the program in general for the students that have completed their bachelor's and are now looking for a master's.
Correct. The program that I'm with is the Master of Science in Information Systems. It is aimed at people with some work experience, although not every one of our students has work experience. And it's we have a broad range of backgrounds among our students. Some of them have IT backgrounds, some of them don't. And the idea is to educate them about processes in organizations and how technology is used to support those processes at operational levels, at the analytic levels, as well as cybersecurity.
Now, is this a degree that when you leave with this kind of degree, is there a lot of opportunity that's associated with this?
There are tremendous opportunities. In fact, the latest statistics for employment for our graduates, this is for a year ago, for August. We don't have the statistics for last year. It's 100% employment.
Wow.
With an asterisk, it's 100% for those who are seeking employment. Some of them went on to Ph.D. programs and such, right. So those are not included. But the demand is there. There's a tremendous demand for people who can take technologies and apply them to solve problems.
Now, from the student standpoint, and when they're going through the program, is this something that is a lot of theory, or are you partnering with actual businesses to put real live business cases in front of them so they're learning kind of in real time, real life problems?
That's a very good question. Our department, the CIS department in the Robinson College, is ranked among the top in the world in research. Mm-hmm. So the students do get some very theoretical, conceptual knowledge, but the program is deliberately very applied. Almost every class has a hands-on component, and in recent years we have added specific classes that take that applied philosophy to a greater depth. So by the time they come out of the program, they know the concepts and theories really well, but they also know a lot of different technologies. To the extent that they get certified in several of them. So it's also a very applied degree.
So now how does it work when you work with, do you ever work with businesses and say, look, this is, the business comes to you, or maybe you work together and say, look, I got this problem. I'd love for your students to kind of play around with it. And then you're like, well, maybe that's out of the scope. Maybe they can do this aspect. Like, how does that conversation work when you're partnering with an enterprise business?
Sure. So we have a particular course called the Experience course, and it's a project class. And we try to bring in real problems from companies and give it to the students to address. I'm teaching a class that starts this week, for example, and I have 2 projects, one from Dell Corporation, or Dell Technologies is the correct name, and then one from Carter's, which is a local company. Mm-hmm. And the students will spend the next 8 weeks using a variety of techniques and technologies to come up with a solution for the challenges that these companies offer. We do that as much as we can, and we'd love to have more companies come and partner with us to get proof of concept prototypes for.
So walk me through that conversation you're having with the business to develop what would be an 8-week program for you as the curriculum for the class for the students. Like, do you help kind of shape it, or do they say, look, I want to know if this works or doesn't work, or like what is that? What does the scope of the work look like so you can deliver back in the 8 weeks something that's valuable?
So it varies depending on the company and the project and so on. But typically, they'll come to us and say, we would like, we're dealing with this challenge, or we're dealing with this problem, and we'd like to understand better how this technology can help us address this. Mm-hmm. Or they might say, we've heard of this new technology, for example, blockchain. Right. And say, we want to find out how that technology is relevant to our organization. Mm-hmm. And so the students will do some research, do some hands-on stuff, and come up with a prototype. Now, we are very clear that this is not something that's going to be turnkey, where here it is and you turn it on and it works. It's an 8-week project. And so we will scope it out and we'll define what we can deliver in those 8 weeks. And it's going to be substantial. It's something that the company can then take. They've learned a lot about the technology and the problem. Our students have learned a lot. And then it's up to the company how they go with it.
Now, has there ever been situations where after that, maybe the company goes, you know what, the person that did a lot of work on this, maybe we'll recruit them to our company?
Exactly, yeah.
So you've seen that happen?
Yes, this is a great opportunity for both the companies and our graduates to find a fit there. Our students do get hired out of this.
Now, when you're working on a project like that on behalf of a company, does the professor have to kind of outline how it works, or is it in the hands of the students to kind of figure everything out?
We give them some parameters. We have to. Okay, we, for example, in the class I'm teaching right now, they have very specific deliverables every week to make sure that they're on track to deliver what we agreed to deliver. So we do give them a lot of guidance. Yeah, a lot of direction, a lot of guidance. We give them templates. We give them, what exactly they should be delivering every week. And we welcome the corporate partners to participate in those presentations.
Oh, so sometimes they show up maybe during the course of that 8 weeks to give them more feedback, maybe answer some questions and give them more guidance.
Correct. Yeah. And again, it depends on the project, depends on the professor and so on. But the companies can send, again, taking the example of the class I'm doing now, we have a mechanism for them to participate online. We'll record the presentations and send it to them. But that feedback from the companies is essential.
Right.
Otherwise, it'll be, here's what we think you need.
Right. We just guessed.
Yeah, right.
So the more kind of cooperative and collaborative it is, a better result for everybody.
Yes.
So now, are there any other aspects of this program that's different than maybe some of the other programs around town?
Yes, and not just around town, around the country, actually. Yeah, I already mentioned our faculty are number one in the world in research. That has a lot of value. We have, let me just look up some of my notes here. So we are a top-ranked program. The U.S. News and World Report, for example, sends out or releases rankings every year, and we were ranked number 8 among public schools for Master of Science and Information Systems programs. And we've had pretty high rankings for a long time. We have some educational opportunities that very few, if any, other universities offer. We have boot camps almost every weekend.
And what is a boot camp?
A boot camp is an opportunity for us to bring in leading experts in the world on a particular topic, for example, blockchain, or bring in some new and emerging technologies like robotic process automation and or low-code application development. And these are things that we haven't yet incorporated into our classes, but we think they are important for our students to know. So we offer boot camps on technologies and concepts. Like we had one last weekend on design thinking, which is a very powerful tool for designing applications. And
so are these required, or these are things that are just like, can anybody show up for these, or you have to be a student or go through the master's program?
Yeah, these are for the students in the MSIS program.
Right, so only for them, but they're kind of specialized outside of the scope of maybe the degree part, but it's the knowledge and information part.
Correct. These are optional for them, but they, why wouldn't you take advantage of it, right? And the thing is, there's no additional cost to them.
Oh,
we cover the cost of it. There are some exceptions. We won't get into the detail, but by and large, there's no cost to the students. And in many of these,
just a weekend, like they just go in there for.
So it depends. Typically, there are 1 or 2 days in the weekend, but we do have one that's 2 weeks long.
Right.
And many of these lead to certifications, which are
so
nice.
You can get a certification at the end of the boot camp?
Many of them lead to that. Yeah, at least they prepare them for it. And now it's up to them if they want to go
follow
take the test.
Through. Right.
Yeah.
So that's an amazing opportunity.
It is. And those are, I don't think there are many other universities that offer those, at least at no cost.
Now, is this something that you're trying to attract the Georgia students into, and Georgia State specifically, or is this open to anybody in the country, or are you getting students from outside of the Georgia?
It's open to anyone. We have a large international population, but we're trying to actively recruit students from within the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm. And then are the bulk of the students primarily Georgia State grads that are just continuing their education, or is it more diverse than that?
No, it's more diverse than that. Looking at our own undergraduate students, they're also getting an information systems degree from a top-rated school, and so they get jobs.
Right.
And it's hard to convince them not to take that job and go to school for another
couple of years, right?
Actually, it's a one-year program. That's another very distinctive feature of our program. Most similar programs are
2 years at least,
1.5 to 2 years.
Now, so what are the requirements for admission?
So they have to have a bachelor's degree. It doesn't have to be in information systems or technology. As I said, we have many students with different backgrounds. We would like some work experience, but it's not an essential requirement. It just depends on the complete package. We expect them to do well in the standardized tests like GRE and GMAT. We expect a good, strong GPA in their undergraduate program. And there are no minimums necessarily. We look at the whole thing holistically. So one candidate may have a very strong GRE, which is one of the standardized tests, but they may not have much work experience. On the other hand, somebody may have a weaker test score, but they have other things in their application that are strong. Ultimately, we are trying to figure out, will this person succeed in our program?
Right.
And because of the nature of the program, 1 year, and it's not that we're doing it less, it's packed.
Fitting it in, right.
And then you got boot camps.
Right.
So it's a very, very intense program, but you're done in 1 year. And so you have to be, we have to make the judgment, will you succeed in this program?
Right. It's more of a mindset, right?
It is.
Than it is.
Yeah. You come into the program and say, for 1 year, I'm going to focus.
I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to get it done. Then you have a shot.
Yep.
Now, for you, any stories you can share about students that have gone on to bigger and better things after going through the program? Anybody that stands out for you?
There are many of our students. I wish I could have brought a few with me, but perhaps another time. But we have a lot of students who do really well, and by that I mean they get opportunities at some very well-known organizations.
Like, what are some of the companies that have hired out of this program?
Yeah, many of the consulting companies, Deloitte, PwC, many of our big companies in Atlanta, like Coca-Cola, Carter's, Home Depot. So, and most of our students want to go to these big companies, but many of them prefer to go to smaller companies that are a little bit more nimble and agile, perhaps, or even startup companies. we have a large list of companies that our students have gone to.
Sure, I'm sure it's the who's who of companies.
Exactly. And this is Atlanta, right? I mean, there's so many opportunities to engage with the local community that if you come to our program and do what we expect you to do, and you don't get an opportunity in town, then you're not doing something right.
Right. There's plenty of opportunity, and the business community is growing so much in the metro Atlanta area.
Yeah. And we have a number of units within the college that support the students. We have a whole career advancement center within the Robinson College, which is unusual because typically it's at the university level, and we have one at the university. You have that there as well. But the Robinson College Career Advancement Center focuses on our students. They have career coaches. They do resume reviews, mock interviews, and a whole bunch of other things to prepare the students for those job interviews.
Now, how do you kind of stay up to date with all the changes? Because I would imagine that job never ends, that, every 6 months or less, there's something new that would be good to fit into the program.
Yes, that's one of the hardest things to do as a professor in this discipline. And one of the things we do is those boot camps, right?
This gives you kind of a way to at least test the waters to say, hey, is this something maybe we should go a little deeper on this subject?
Correct. And we do that. I will bring in some experts on a particular topic and sit in and, understand that a little deeper, put it in my classes the next semester.
So it's that nimble to be able to make those kind of adjustments that quickly?
Yeah, we have courses specifically designed to be evolving very rapidly. There's one course called Emerging Technologies. Well, that changes.
Just built in the name.
Exactly, yeah. And I've had students who've graduated who hear about what we are teaching in it, and they'll say, well, why didn't you do that when I was
just
there?
Here 2 years ago. Where was I when I was there?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it evolves quite rapidly.
Now, in your kind of career, have you seen this kind of speed of change that's occurring nowadays? It must be faster today, I would imagine, than it was, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it is so fast. In fact, one of the philosophies I have is, we do teach a lot of technologies, specific ones, but that's not the focus. All right. It's the technologies will change, and we want to teach our students how to apply whatever technology to address the business challenges. So today it could be technology X, tomorrow it'll be technology Y, but our students are prepared to shift to that new technology. That's the focus.
Is to have kind of that, the ability to change with the times rather than saying, look, I already learned that, I'm done learning.
Right.
You can't be that person anymore.
You cannot, yeah. You
have to be a lifelong learner.
Exactly. And
now, is that something that at the Robinson College of Business, is that something that is just kind of pounded into their heads, is this is not something that you're ever done doing? This learning is a part of your life now, and that things are changing too rapidly that you can't kind of be ever done if you want to have a career.
Correct. Yeah. Being a lifelong learner is embedded into what we do, and that's what we try to teach our students, because as you said, in 6 months, the technology we specifically introduce may become obsolete.
Right. And you have to be able to, I don't want to say abandon it, but at least kind of tweak your learning to adjust to the new way.
You have to evolve, yes.
Right.
Yeah. And even the technology that we introduce, it will change. Right. With more features and capabilities.
What is the hardest part for students to really wrap their head around when it comes to information sciences? Is that information systems? Like, do you see them making kind of similar mistakes?
Yeah. So it's the application that's important, not the technology itself. It's just a tool, right? And it's easy to teach a tool. So I can teach about a particular technology in terms of how to do something.
Right. Do these 14 things and then you got it. Right.
What's more important is, why is this important? Why are we doing this? And how does this solve a problem? Right. And that's the part that's harder for many students to grasp, especially students with less work experience. And you can see the difference between people who worked a little longer and those that have not, and how they approach a problem. You can see the difference. It may be perhaps is a level of maturity thing, but that's the hardest thing, to have them focus on why they're doing something and not just the how.
And then for students that are considering getting their Master of Science in this, is part of the lore the fact that, look, this is going to help your career. But
absolutely, yeah.
That's part of it. But another part I would think is that this is kind of helping you with the mindset shift that you are going to be kind of immersed in this world that's ever changing. It's not going to be the same as it was. So this is, if you really are hungry for always learning, this is a great path to be in, because there's never a dull moment here, right?
There's never a dull moment, yeah. And in the 12 months that they're with us, there's something going on all the time, and it's intense. And we have people who come into our program to change from what they're doing.
So they'll change the trajectory of their career. They'll say, hey, let me go this way.
Correct. And we have people with no IT background, but we also have people who've been in the IT industry for a few years, but they've been doing one thing, maybe coding or testing or something like that, and they want to shift to another aspect of IT, right? That's more business process focused or more analytics focused, that's addressing problems. So we have people who come in from the IT industry, but they want to shift.
Now, if you were want to talk to the business people to kind of leverage the opportunity they would have of partnering with you to get some of their problems solved, what would your pitch be to a company out there that's maybe struggling and then doesn't even know about this resource?
Yeah. As I said, we have a very strong program. It's highly ranked, great professors, and so we attract a lot of very, very talented people into the program.
So that's a benefit by itself. But if they wanted to have one of their challenges kind of worked on by your students, there's opportunity there. You'd be willing to talk to businesses that have kind of...
Absolutely. We'd love to have that conversation. And there are different things we can do to partner. One, I already mentioned class projects, right? Those are very powerful experiences for us, our students, as well as for the companies.
Right. It seems like a very easy win-win for everybody.
Exactly. We would love to have people from the industry come and speak at our classes.
Speaking, right.
Yeah, and provide a different perspective. We would love to have them hire our students as interns.
Right.
Right. And of course, full-time employment. So there are many different opportunities to engage with the program, with the students, and as well as the faculty. There are opportunities to work with the faculty on research to address particular problems.
So it sounds like it's a good business move for a lot of these enterprise level companies just to have conversations with the leadership in your department in order to just see where the best fit is, because it seems like there's a lot of win-wins in this.
There are, and I'm talking about the MSIS program.
Right.
The College of Business, the Robinson College, has numerous master's programs. I don't recall exactly, but it's a dozen or more, and it's no other university in the U.S. has that many master's programs. If I'm accurate on that, so it's not just our program. We have a very strong analytics program, for instance, and others, and opportunities to engage are tremendous.
Right. And so if somebody wanted to learn more, what's the best way? There's a website?
There are numerous websites. If you go to the Robinson College website, robinson.gsu.edu, and from within that, you can search for or find a list of all the programs. And ours, of course, is the MSIS program.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Of course, anytime.
Now, if there is, so that's the best way. That's the first step, right? Is to just go to the website and they can find out whether you're a student or a business that wants a partner. That's probably the place that you can go and get all this information.
Correct. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, thank you again for sharing your story.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. This is Lee Cantor for Stone Payton. We will see you back in a few at GSU ENI Radio.